Bilt Hamber are back with a version 2 of their already popular touchless pre-wash. But for those of you who don't know what Bilt Hamber are all about, let me give you a quick rundown. Bilt Hamber are not what you would call your average detailing brand. Their serious scientific approach towards chemicals is what makes them one of the most unique brands on the market. And all their products contain extra long sciencey descriptions which only a professor would understand. So to the hardcore car care enthusiasts, this is a wet dream. But for average Joe, he's going to be left scratching his head. Why? Well, let's just have a quick vote, and this one goes out to you non-detailers out there. Tell me if any of this makes sense. The minimum recommended dilution rate should be 0.5 P.I.R panel impact ratio and up to 2% for very dirty vehicles where application is through trigger spray or pump spray. The dilution calculation is easy to achieve. However, for application with pressure equipment, it is essential to determine the amount of water being delivered to the equipment reservoir. Use the following method to calculate the P.I.R. The following calculations will achieve 2% dilution. Measure the total amount collected in B and multiply this number by 0.02. Total can be measured in volume with a measuring jug or by weight. I'm not being funny, but this is definitely not a product aimed at the beginners. This isn't just something that anybody can just pick up and use willy-nilly. And I might come across a little bit stupid here because you have to work out the percentages and how hard can it be to work out 2% or 1% or 0.5. But for everybody who just likes to wash their car, this really doesn't seem like something I would want to be doing. So to give you a quick calculation for using this in a trigger spray bottle, if you have a 500ml bottle, you're only going to need to use 10 mils because you're going to be using it at 2%. If it was 1%, it would be 5 mils, so you just double it basically. So it's very easy to calculate. So I just want to give you some quick calculations on how much product you're going to be needing in a foam cannon. The foam cannon that I am using is from P.I.R. It's their premium model. It comes with 3 different jugs. You also get 2 lids and you get a foam nozzle on top. Why have they done this? Well, it's because they're actually thinking about what the user wants. Now for me, if I was going to try and measure this out accurately, the last thing I want to do is use half of this product around a car and then have to pour it out into another container in case I was to spill it or waste any extra products. Or I might just have that temptation in there to go, oh, I've only got like maybe a third left, I'm just going to go around the car one more time. You don't necessarily need to waste product when you've got things like 3 different jugs. So I have one from a snow foam, I have one for a pre-wash, and then the other one for a ceramic sealant or maybe a rinse aid or something like that. So if you are somebody who wants to be using a snow foam cannon instead of using a pump spray or a trigger spray, you've got to bear in mind that you add your product here, you're going to have to add the rest with water, but you've also got water flowing through the system. I've got an Arva Easy P57, this is my go-to machine. What I want to be doing here is because I've got a 1 litre jug, I want to be putting roughly 200 to 250 mils of product in here. Now interestingly enough, if you are a beginner and you can't make sense of all these 1,000,001 different instructions, you have a QR code scanner. But the funny thing is, right, when I went onto the QR code scanner, it basically takes you to a shop. So that's completely pointless. Now I know that you can change those links at any point to send them to different websites. But the thing is, surely wouldn't it make sense for them to do a tutorial? Let's just remember, 9 times out of 10, okay, no, let's be honest, 10 times out of 10, whenever you're washing your car, you've got your mobile phone in your pocket. Now, if I've just been introduced to this product because I've been on a forum and the detailer says, this is the best, and I go to pick this bottle up, I want to find out how much to use. I might not want to process all this. I may not be able to process this because I might be dyslexic, for example. But if I had a QR code which took me to a dedicated video where somebody's actually explaining how to use the product and get the best out of it, surely wouldn't that make sense? I'm giving the car a quick wash today, and because the roads are awful outside the farm, I don't care too much about going mad on this, as it will be ruined by the time we had to do the school run later on. So here in the trigger spray, I'm just using 10 mils of touchless and 490 mils of water. As usual, if the weather is cool or cold and the direct sunlight isn't on the car, you can let it dwell for a good 1 to 5 minutes, but don't let it completely dry. So for this side of the car, all I'm doing is just spraying it with a trigger spray because it's the most cost-effective way of doing things. And in all honesty, I'm really confident with this product. I mean, I've never used this one, but it's sticking quite well, and you can literally see it pulling the dirt off as soon as it touches the paint. I mean, look at this. You can see it dragging the dirt down. Because it's a freakishly windy day today, this is going to dry out a lot quicker than 5 minutes. Now they say 1 to 5 minutes in your typical cool, cloudy conditions. The sun is starting to come out. It is freezing cold, but we just have that wind, which is really strong at the minute. So this will literally dry out quicker than you can blink. So I'm going to leave it on for another 60 seconds, then we're going to rinse it off. All right, so here we go. I'm going to try not to splash it too much, but I need to get the camera close enough so we can see what's going on here. So let's just tackle this section here. Yep, I've got that on camera. Let's see what happens. Flipping heck, that is remarkable. What a difference. Awful lot of road tar on there. We've got roadworks outside the house at the minute, so this is a result of that. There's literally road workers there every single day, but oh my word, that is ridiculously good. So what I want to do now, because the sun is trying to come out and we've got that wind, I'm actually just going to leave it to dry at this point completely, because I'm going to go and snow foam the other side, and whilst I'm doing that, that should give this time to dry out, just so we can see how much dirt has actually been removed. But honestly, very impressive. Right, so I'm now just going to go over half the car with this foam. Beautiful. So I have used almost half of that, but I didn't go sparingly because I love my foam. I always get carried away. I like to make sure I get in all the little nooks and crannies. I want it to work, I want it to cover as much. But yeah, if you're on a budget, you don't really need to go as mad as I just did there. You probably could have used a third less. 3.5 minutes gone now. Let's give it a rinse. So bearing in mind in real world conditions, you'd normally pre-wash and jump straight into the contact wash. You would never ever do this. I would say that is pretty good. So you can see the difference between the dirt that hasn't been treated and sprayed compared to down here. This is still a bit wet here, so can't really use that as an example, but honestly, I'm really impressed with that. And the whole job of this is to break down the dirt and make it easier for you, so you've got less risk of scratching the car when you do the contact wash. Because if I just chucked over a wash mitt over dirt like this, yeah, of course you're going to scratch it. And please don't judge, it's an old car anyway, it doesn't matter, that's why I'm doing that. Absolutely brilliant with the pump sprayer. If we now go over to where I'd snow foamed, again it's still quite wet, it's not really dried yet, so it's going to be hard to give you some accurate results, but again, all in all, it's looking pretty good. Ultimately, this is a brilliant product, but I do have one major gripe with it, because I don't know whether they've been very sneaky or clever, so I'm going to use my words very carefully here. I believe they've been quite clever, because if I was a beginner just scrolling around any website and I saw this product, it would say touchless. Now, touchless is a gesture, meaning you can achieve something without touching it. However, when you look closely at the bottle, it doesn't say touchless. It says touchless. It's a hyphenated word. So what that means is you're less likely to touch it because you've already got off most of the dirt, meaning the contact wash stage is going to be a little bit easier. So just bear that in mind. This isn't a complete touchless process if you wanted to clean your car. You still have to do that contact wash regardless. And then I was thinking, when in my last 16 years that I've ever been a car cleaner have I had to put nearly 250 mils of product into a foam cannon to remove dirt from a car? And ultimately there still was a little bit dirt on there. It didn't exactly remove everything. And I thought, well, that's never ever happened to me. So did I really need to use so much product? I will try again dialing it down on another date, but I just made me realize, do I really need this when I've already got perfectly good citrus pre-washes that are already doing a great job? So yeah, it's just something to think about if you are a beginner. I mean, look, there is a lot of information here to take on board and process. If they could get a how-to video put up with this QR code, I think they're definitely going to be on a winner, even just by simplifying some of it. Not all of us are crazy scientists. Anyway, if you love videos like this, I've got 2 amazing videos that you can go and watch right here.